Good afternoon. Hi, I'm Mick Raich. You know me as the CEO of Vachette Pathology and of Stark Medical Auditing. And today I'm going to give you an update on some of the stuff we're seeing and what's going on out there. There's some interesting things that are taking place. The first thing that I want to talk about is this proposed fee schedule cut that's supposed to come out here next week or so. It looks like a 7 or 8% pay cut for radiologists and pathologists is on the horizon. Now, we don't know if this will come through, especially in the time of COVID, but right now there's no indicators it's not. So what will happen is they'll propose these fee schedules, and then we'll have time to comment on them. And then in November 11th, the Federal Register will come out and we'll know the actual changes that are going to take place. Let's hope at a time like this, everyone sees the change, and that even the government will stop and step back and make it so these cuts at least don't take place for another couple more years. A lot of our groups right now are just getting back up and running. A lot of providers are just starting to get volumes where they need to be. So that would not be a good cut for us. Another thing we should talk about is we've received some notice from labs that aren't getting paid 100% for COVID testing. It says despite these rules are in place for this to take place, we're seeing these tests being underpaid. Another one of the big problems is billing of these cases. Right now you can't balance bill a COVID patient, and that's going to present some troubles. And also some other payers have some unique portals you have to go through to get paid correctly. So as we struggle to get this machine up and running on how to build this, as I predicted back in May, we're going to see the drama. We're going to see overbilling of COVID patients. We're going to see underbilling of COVID type patients. And we're going to see billing companies and billing parties struggle with that. Don't be that person that doesn't look at this, that doesn't take it closely. If you bill a COVID patient, an uninsured COVID patient for COVID testing, it's going to be a PR nightmare, especially in the society and as you're dealing with the struggle of this. Don't be that group that gets that. Don't be that lab that gets the phone call. Don't be that hospital outreach system that ends up in the news because they did this wrong. Take a good look at it. Audit it. How about that? How about you take a look at some of your April and May claims and make sure they're done right? It would just make sense. One of the problems we're seeing right now is that with these COVID cases, the OIG has came out and claimed they want to take a look at this themselves, because one of the fears is, even though you might erroneously bill a COVID patient for self-pay, one of the bigger fears is that someone would literally add a COVID test to every panel, for example, to get paid. I would like to say this has never happened, but I've been in the lab industry long enough to know this has happened. I've seen that type of thing. I've seen enough providers find out an angle. They've already caught a couple different providers out there doing things like this. So let's be careful. Let's be very, very careful. An honest mistake is an honest mistake, but something like that is just fraud, and that's gonna play out negatively. One potential side effect of CMS's decision to offer a MIPS hardship, this is MIPS, they offer these hardship exceptions for providers affected by COVID, could be that this could affect the potential bonus pool. Remember, farther down in the MIPS program now, where it's a plus or 9% if you do it right or you do it wrong. If a lot of providers opt out of MIPS this quarter or this year, we might be able to see the ones that stay in get a bigger bonus. Could be an interesting play. And the ones that don't do it right, when it all gets said and done, it's going to be interesting. Have you ever audited your MIPS? Have you ever seen your report from your biller or your billing people on that? Be interesting to look at, wouldn't it? Another idea. Another good thing on the COVID side is that the AMA recently published a new antigen test code. It's 87426, I think. This allows for coding and billing of the antigen tests performed on patients suspected of being infected with the novel coronavirus. However, the only applicable test that has received EUA from the FDA is the Sophia 2 SARS antigen FIA rapid point of care test from Quintel. This code will be effective at June 24th. What we're seeing is that there's still a lot of mystery out there on this antibody test. There was a bunch of them approved. They were given the FDA emergency authorization, but we're finding a lot of that's being pulled back. This right now is the only test that we know of that's actually been approved that is actually, we think, going to be effective. And again, I'm not a doctor, but from everything we read, this is kind of the one that's effective so far. And the good news is we have a CPT code for it, 87426. Now here's what I think will happen. I think a lot of the antigen tests will still be done with the other types of tests. There was 36 approved tests at one time. I think they'll all be billed. I think if you're smart, you're going to go back and bill them under this code and see how you get paid. It won't be erroneous because you actually performed the work. And this is now the new CPT code, and that code was effective June 24th. So maybe it's time to look at that, see how you built those before, and see if you can use this new code going forward. The next thing I want to talk about is the National Lab Defense Network. This is the concept that I brought up back in April, because I talked to a lot of lab owners, and they said, "Hey, we have excess capacity. We'd love to do this kind of work, but we know our providers won't pay for it. We can't get paid. We can't bring in testing because we're struggling with our revenue already." And COVID has made us very aware of the fact that we're dependent on 2 or 3 labs in the nation to do all this, and they're at their capacity for COVID testing. They came out last week and said that. Quest and LabCorp said we're at capacity. So, looking at this going forward, where's the place for a national lab network? NILA, the National Independent Lab Association, has proposed the concept of this also, to say maybe we need an independent lab network. A national lab network, someone that can handle all this, so we have a safety net. Because there will be a COVID-20, COVID-21, there was a COVID-16. It's going to continue to happen. These viruses aren't going to call a treaty. So wouldn't it be great to have that safety network built for that? I think it would. A couple other things. This is something we've talked about before, is that the Health and Human Services want all labs doing COVID to report 18 data elements, including patient race and ethnicity. Now, this is a ramp up, because most lab requisitions don't have this on there. They can't, at least they never thought of in the past, of asking race or ethnicity when you did a panel and you did a requisition. So now they have to reprint these recs, they have to get these up and running, and they have to figure out how to do it. They want compliance possible by August 1st, so that's 1 month. Who assumes that cost? So I'm sending out 20,000 recs a month. I've got to go out and get my old recs, pull those, go to a printer, get all the new ones printed. And mind, the printer's been closed for 3 months, so he's finally opening back up. He's on a backlog. Then I've got to be able to get those printed and get those backed out, and then teach everyone to use that. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. A couple more things. What's this fall going to look like? What do you think your revenue is going to look like this fall? What happens if you close down again? What I'm going to advise my groups and the groups that work with us and the labs, health systems, is to sit on cash. You don't know. We don't know if there'll be another round of shutdowns. We don't know if there'll be another round of payroll protection. We don't know how that'll play out. What we do know is that we'll see a resurgence of this virus this fall. How we react as a nation, that's going to be interesting. But if I'm as a business owner, and I own several businesses, and my goal is to keep everyone employed, keep providing that great value to our clients, and sit on some cash. Cash is king, to be ready for it. Well, let me wrap this up. We're going to cover a lot of these subjects in much more detail with much smarter people than myself. Well, I have my crew there, and we have a guest speaker, John Harrell from Lighthouse Labs also, on a webinar. It's going to be July 15th, Wednesday, I think at 3 p.m. There'll be a link on this below. Take a look at that. It's a free webinar. We do it for free. We want to help our clients. We want to help anybody out there who has these questions and wants to know this data, wants to know this information. And it'll detail some of the things we talked about today, but with actually some better links and some better answers also, some more detailed stuff. I get it, this is a limited format. I hope you appreciate listening to this video. Let me know if you did or if you didn't. And I'll probably be talking to you in another week or so. Thanks. Bye.